All right, now it's recording, so hopefully it'll be up there. Okay, let's go through this. Some of this stuff should be pretty basic for you, but some of this stuff we haven't done in a while, right? So you really want to pay attention because we have done this and we've gone over this before, but you may forget a lot of this. I promise you I'll have this on the midterm, all right? It was on the quiz, it was on the test. I told you from the first day that we did geometry that was going to be on there. So what are my three undefined terms? Do you remember? Point? Yeah. Point? Yeah. I always go point, line, plane, but it doesn't matter what order you put it in. But that's the order that we did it, okay? Point, line, plane. Memorize those, all right? Easy first question, all right? Now, let's do this. Name three collinear points. What does it mean to be collinear? Collinear means they all lie on the same line. That's right. Co means with, and you see the word line right there. I said, I don't know if it was this class or whoever it was, but I said, what word do you see in here? And somebody said ear. I'm like, yeah, okay, but that's not a geometry thing. But line is the word that you see in there, okay? So it's 3 points that lie on the same line. So let's take a look at this picture over here. So what points all lie on the same line? Q, S, and T, exactly right. Point Q, point S, and point T. They're 3 separate points. So you write Q, comma, S, comma, T. Okay, I had people doing all kinds of stuff. I had people writing Q, S, T, and a line over top of that. Is that what I'm looking for? No, it says name what? 3 collinear what? Points. Okay, this is not a point, is it? That's a line. And also, you wouldn't do a line with 3 points anyway. All right, so it's just 3 separate points, Q, S, and T. Put a comma in between so you see that they're separated. What about this? 3 concurrent what? Lines. So now we're going to have 3 lines, all right? And what does it mean to be concurrent? It means all the lines do what? All 3 lines, they touch, or what's a good geometry word, though, instead of touch? Intersect each other, okay? They intersect each other. So let's take a look on here. Where is there a point where 3 lines meet at that point? At point T, that's right. But is that my answer? Do I just put T? No, because what does it ask for? Name what? 3 concurrent what? Lines. So what are the lines that all meet at point T? Can you just say R? Yeah, you got to say RT. You can't just use one letter, all right? So these are points right here. You could call it line RT. So that's 1. So RT. And it's a line. So what do we put over top of it? The line symbol, right? So RT, that's one of them. What's another point that intersects at T? Okay. QR. This is QR. Does that intersect right here? No, QR doesn't intersect there. What is it? Okay, PT, that's another one, right? This one right here that goes across. So I'm going to put a comma because I'm just listing these 3 things. PT. So you put the line symbol over top of it. And what's the other line? What's the third line? ST or QT or QS. Doesn't matter what you call it as long as you use 2 points. Don't use all 3 points because you don't use 3 points to show a line. You just use 2 points. All right, so I could call it QT. Let's use that. QT. All right. And that's it. It's pretty easy, right? No math involved. You just got to know what these words mean. And that's why I gave you these problems, because I need you to know the definition of these words. I don't ask for the definition. I never do. I never say, what's the definition of this? Okay, but you need to know how to use those words, okay, what they mean. I think that's more important than memorizing the definition. You need to know what they mean, okay? Any questions on that so far? Yeah, so far so good, right? Pretty easy? All right. Now this one, need a little room to draw. Maybe I'll draw it down here somewhere and then just erase it. So let's draw a picture illustrating each object. Line PQ on plane M. So what's the first thing I'm going to draw? First thing I'm going to draw, what's the biggest one out of all of these? It's the plane. So how do I draw a plane? Now everybody watch. I can't tell you how many times I've said this and I still get people drawing this wrong. Okay, what does a plane look like when we draw it on a piece of paper? It looks like, well, it's not a trapezoid. It's actually a parallelogram. we'll talk about parallelograms in another chapter, but it looks like this. I've had so many people, even though every time I draw a plane, I draw it like that, every time you see it in the book, but then I still get people drawing it like this. Is that how we want to draw a plane? No, I give it to you because a plane isn't really necessarily slanted, but this is the way that we always see a plane. Every time they draw a plane in the book, it always looks like this, okay? So that's what we want to do. It's slanted. Everybody got it? Okay. That's a plane. Plane what, though? What do we name it? Plane K. Where do I put the K? In one of the corners. It could be in the top right corner, okay? But it could be in any of the corners, okay? Any of these corners. But it's got to be inside it. Don't put the K out here. If you put the K out there, I'm going to mark it wrong. Everybody with me? All right, so make sure, and I'm saying this over and over again, and I can almost guarantee that I'm going to mark some of the problems wrong of people that are sitting in this room right now listening to me. All right, so don't be one of those people. Make sure you do it correctly. But we're not done. That's plane K, but what do we have to draw inside of it? Line PQ. So that's got to be, it says it's on the plane. That means it's in or on the plane. All right, so PQ. So I just draw a line. What does a line have to have? Arrows. And if it's line PQ, what am I going to do? Put a point right there, call it P. Put another point right there, call it Q. And that's all there is to it. Okay, there's plane K, there's line PQ, and line PQ is on the plane. Don't make this arrow go outside of it. Okay, don't put the line out like this. Okay, that's not right. Okay, this is what's right. Now, it doesn't matter how you angle it inside the plane. You could have drawn it like this. You could have drawn it like this. It doesn't make any difference. Okay, but it's got to be on it or in it. Okay, when we talk about being on a plane or in a plane, it means the same thing. Okay, that's not too hard, is it? Not hard at all. Now this one, number 5, is a little bit more difficult. I'll just jolt number 5. Let's just get rid of this. Okay, so now let's do number 5. It says line N. All right, so we're going to have a line, and we're going to call it lowercase n. Remember, when I do lines, let's go back up to this. You didn't have any lowercase letters here, but what if I had like little n, that's a lowercase n right there. I could call this line 2 things, couldn't I? I could call it PT, or I could call it what? Line N. I can't just call it line P, can't just call it line T. But if I put a lowercase letter, and they usually put it kind of in italics. If I put a lowercase letter, like on the end of that line where the arrow is, I could just call that line N. You with me? So that should help you with this picture right here. So let's draw right here. So line N intersecting plane F. So that's the first thing I'm going to draw, plane F. Well, I kind of already did it, but we named it something else last time, didn't we? What was it, K? All right, so there's my plane. That's how I draw it. It's plane what? Plane F. So where am I going to put the F? Am I going to put the F right here? No. Where do I put it? Inside of it. That's right. It could be at the top right. It doesn't matter. Let's just put it somewhere else just to show you. All right, I could put it down here in the bottom left. But any of the corners, it doesn't matter. Just make sure it's inside it and it's in one of the corners. So that's plane F. Everybody with me? But what does the line do? The line intersects the plane at point P. So let's put a point P. There's a point. There's point P. Now I got to do a line that intersects that point. Now, if you remember, let me see. We'll use this. Just use this as the flat surface, okay? Here's my line. Everybody watching? Do we consider this to be intersecting the plane? No, we say this line is what to the plane right now? It's on the plane or in the plane, either way, okay? What's intersecting the plane? If it just goes through it, that's right. If it hits like this, everybody watching? Okay, it goes like this, hits, but then it comes out what? The other side. Everybody with me? How do we draw that? Well, this part you see, don't you? Right? Until it hits. But then there's a part that you don't see. Would you agree? Right? So if that thing came all the way out like that, you'd eventually start seeing it again. What do we do with that part that you don't see? How do we draw it? A dotted line. Very good. Okay? So that's what we're going to do. So watch very carefully. And it's got to go through point P. So let's do this. So let's say, it doesn't matter which way you go. So that's the part that you see, but then this part is the part that's covered up. And that's the part that you don't see. So I make it a dotted line. But then you start seeing it come out of the plane again, don't you? And so now you go back to a solid line. That's how you draw it. So draw it right now. If you didn't know how to do it, anybody taking notes on this? I don't see too many people. I see people with nothing on their desk. Okay, that's crazy talk. This is a line that intersects plane F at point P. I didn't name the line though, did I? I got to name the line. What is that line? Line what? Line N. Okay, right there. Line N. I even underlined it. Now I circled it. Line N. All right, so I call it line N. I just put a little N next to that arrow. It intersects plane F at point P. I can almost guarantee that's going to be on the test. All right? Yes, sir. Okay? Did you write it down? Did you draw it? Nope. I barely saw anybody budging. All right. It's up to you. That's your problem, I guess. All I can do is tell you what you should be doing to have success in here. If you don't take my advice, I don't know. That's just silly. But you got the right to be silly, I guess. All right, there you go. All righty. Let's look at this one. It says, what is the endpoint of YW? And it's not just YW. What is that symbol right there? What's that symbol? It's an arrow with just one arrow. It's not arrows on both ends of it. What do we call that thing? What is it? Now, what do we call that arrow? When you have an arrow on top of this, going just to the right, going to the right. It's a ray. Okay, it's a ray. So this is ray, YW. What is a ray? A ray starts at where? In this case, Y, and what's it do? It goes through W, right? It's supposed to be a straight line, but you get the idea. I was a little crooked. But the question says, what is the end point of this? So what is the end point of that ray? It's Y. The first one on a ray, the first one is always the end point. That's your end point right there. So you just write down Y. That's it. All you got to do is just write down Y. Don't write down point Y. Don't put a dot for Y. Just put Y. When you just have one letter sitting there by itself, automatically it means it's a point. Make sense? All right. And you didn't even have to draw it over here. Okay? I did, but you don't have to. Just wanted you to see what the ray looked like on that line right there. Okay, let's do this one. It says name, what's this? This is a ray. Name ray XZ in another way. Can you? Sure? Watch. Starts at X, right? And it goes through where? Well, originally, what's this mean? It goes through Z, right? So you can't say, would you say ZX? Would you say earlier, first one? Yeah, you can't say ZX because Z, if you wrote ray ZX, you'd be starting at Z and going through X and all the way through. Is that what that red thing's doing? No, it starts where? At X. So I have to start at X. It says name it in another way. What other point does it go through? Y, yeah, exactly. And it's a what? It's a ray, so you write it as a ray. Don't just write down XY and nothing else. Put the ray symbol over top of it. So this is the only other way that you can name that. You can't go both ways on rays. You can't say ray XZ and ray ZX is the same thing. You could do that if it was a line, right? Like we did some lines earlier. Like I could have called this ray RT, line RT, or what else could I have called it? Line what? TR. So with lines, I can go both directions. Everybody with me on that? But not with a ray. A ray is really important to make sure the end point is always first. Okay? Yes, sir. Line up. I guess everybody's going to the bathroom today. Thank you. All right. Let's do this. Here we go. State another name for angle 1. We're using this picture right here. It says use figure 3. There's figure 3. Angle 1 is this angle right there. What's another name for angle 1? Well, we're going to use the letters. You could use them by the numbers, right, or the letters. It's easier to do the number, but sometimes you want to go by the letters. So what is this angle right here? Well, the vertex, what's the vertex of this angle? P, right? So that's got to be in the middle. When we name an angle, okay, the vertex has to be in the middle. Abdul, tell me. QPR, angle QPR. So I'll just write it up here. Angle QPR. Now, I could call it QPR. That'd be perfectly fine. Or I could go the other way and call it what else? RPQ. Could I call it QRP? Could I just mix them up? No. I can't. The vertex right there, the P has got to be in the middle. Okay? That's important when you're talking about angles, all right? Because if it wasn't, you wouldn't really know what angle you're talking about. So QPR and RPQ is the same thing as angle 1. So I could use any of those, and that would be the answer for number 8, okay? Angle QPR. We good? All right, look at this one. Name a point in the interior, which means inside angle RPT. So you got to figure out where RPT is. Well, there's R, there's P, and there's T. So what angle am I looking at? I'm looking at that whole angle from there to there. Everybody see that? So that's angle RPT. Start at R, go to P, go to T. That's this whole angle that I just marked right there. Let's get rid of this little angle 1 thing. All right? So it says name a point that's in the interior of it. I got all kinds of answers for this. I remember when I graded this. People were putting angles, people putting rays, people putting all kinds of stuff. It says name a what? Just a point. So give me a point. Abdul, you got it. What is it? Point S. S is in between this angle. See this angle? See, that's your angle right there, isn't it? So name a point that's inside that angle right there. Point S. All right, and that's your answer. Just put it S. You don't have to put the word point in front of it. You don't have to put a dot in front of it. Just put the letter S and you're good to go. All right? Let's get rid of all that mess. All right, last one with this picture. Name 3 angles. Okay, I need 3 angles. So my answer has to have 3 angles with it that has ray PQ as a side. Well, let's figure out where ray PQ is. Ray PQ is that ray right there. Okay, I need to have 3 angles that has that ray as one of the sides. All right, what's the most obvious one? So I'm always going to go QP. Would you agree? Because this has to be in it. So it's going to be QP what? R. That's one angle. So angle QPR. What's another one? QPS. That's a good one too. Angle QPS. And what's another one? QPT. Right. That's another one. Angle QPT. I think that's all of them, isn't it? I don't think there's any other angles here. Yeah, there's no more angles that have that as a side. So again, I think we struggled with that a little bit. If I remember, it's been a while since I graded these, but it just seems to me like we kind of struggled with that one. But it's really not that hard at all. Again, read the instructions. It says name 3 what? Angles. So you got to have at least some angles here. See the symbol in front of it? The angle symbol? Make sure you put that there. What do you think? So far, so good? All right. We haven't had to do any math yet, have we? All right? Yeah, of course. Anybody else want to go? Does anybody hasn't gone to the bathroom yet? Write it on a piece of paper or something, and I'll sign it for you. Man. It's a bathroom going day, I guess. All right. Let's look at this one. Now we're going to do some math. All right. It says find the distance or the angle measure. Well, in this case, it's distance, okay? Number 11 says DE. What does it mean when it says find DE and there's no symbol over top of it? What does it mean? It means find the length or measure, okay? Find the length, or you could say distance. Find the measure, the length, or the distance of DE. So what am I trying to do? I'm trying to find out how long that little segment is right there. All right, and you're like, well, it's 2x plus 6. But that's not really how long it is it? I got to figure out a number. I want an actual number. So what are we going to do? Say it, Sincere. I'm going to add them together, and what do they add up to be when I add them together? 138. Very good. All right, so let's add them together. Where do I got some room? I got some room down here. Let's do math down here. So I'm going to go 2x plus 6. See how this one and this one add together to be what? DF. And they tell us what DF is. It's 138. You with me? So I got this little one, this one right here. Does that mean that E is dead in the middle? No. Okay, it just means that this one and this one are equal. Now, what about this one over here? M. Yeah, M is in the middle. How do you know M's in the middle here? Because it says it's the midpoint, right? Does it say anything about E being the midpoint? Nope. So we can't say that they're equal to each other, can we? Okay, but they do add up to be the whole entire DF. All right, so that's what I'm going to do. So 2x plus 6 plus what? 3x minus 3. And what does it add up to be? 138. Good. And now, we've been doing this a lot, haven't we? Solving for x. We add, the 2x and the 3x, which gives us what? 5x. And then we take the positive 6 and the minus 3. What's that give us? Positive 3, right? So I put a plus 3. You with me? Equals what? 138. We've been doing this stuff a lot, so this should be like second nature to you now. What do we get rid of? No, not the 5x. Get rid of the 3. Minus 3 from both sides. All right, cancel that out. Bring it down. I got a 5x. 138 minus 3, 135. And let's see, what number is this? 11. I think it's 27. So if I do the math right there, I had to look. I didn't do that in my head. 135 divided by 5. If you have a calculator, you can always put it into a calculator, and you get what? 27. Is that my answer? Do I put 27? Is that how long DE is? That's right. That's my x. So what I have to do is I got to put that x in right there. So what happens? I got a 2 times x, which is 27, and then finish it up. What else do I have to do to it? Plus 6. That's 54. Again, if you can't do that in your head, put in a calculator. 54 plus 6, you should be able to do that in your head. What's that? 60. So what is DE? It's 60. Okay? Make sense? All right, let's go to number 12. Let's get rid of this first. All right, this one says that M's a midpoint. So what does that tell you about LM and MN? That they're the same, that they're equal to each other. Exactly right. So guess what we're going to do? We're going to set them what? Equal to each other. Since the 5x is bigger than the x, I'm going to put that on the left-hand side. Is that all right? Does that bother you if I do that? So 5x minus 3 equals what? X plus 9. Just works out a little nicer, keeps the x on the left-hand side, and it seems like we always like to have the x on the left-hand side anyway. All right, so what do we do here? Okay, I combine some like terms, but I got to move this, don't I? I got to move this over, right? Because this is our like dividing line, right? Our equal sign. So I got to move that x over to the other side. How do I get rid of that x? That's right, I subtract an x. Okay, that's going to cancel. Let's do this. Instead of bringing everything down just now, what am I going to do with that minus 3? I'm going to add it and put it to the other side. Okay, now I'll bring everything down. 5x minus 1x, what's that? 4x. Bring down the equals. That canceled. 9 plus 3 is 12. And you know what to do now, right? Divide. Yep, you got it. X is 3. But again, that's not my answer, is it? They actually want two things. Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. I forgot this. They also want EF over here, don't they? So how do we find EF? This part right here. You could put that Remember, x was 27. I erased it, but we could put that 27 into here. But what's an easier way to do it? Abdul, what'd you say? Yeah, I would go 138 minus 60, right? Because remember, the whole thing is 138. If this is 60, this is just 138 minus 60, which is 78. So this would be 78. So they asked for two things. I kind of skipped over that. Right here, they asked for two things as well, don't they? They asked for LM. So LM is this first one. But they also asked for what? LN. They're not asking for MN. They're asking for LN, the whole entire thing. But let's just do the LM first, okay? So x is 3. So what do we do with this? Yeah, 3 plus 9, which is 12, okay? Now, they don't ask for MN, but what would MN be without doing any math at all? 12, because M is the midpoint, okay? So this is 12. What's LN? It's 24, right? L to N, that whole thing is 12 and 12, which is 24. That was pretty much, well, you got a little math to do down here, okay? But that was, well, and you got a little math to do here too. So let's take a look at this. We're not packing up, are we? We still got 12 minutes. All right, so find angle 3. So what I like to do, whatever I'm finding, I like to put a little arc there so I know what I'm trying to do. All right? And look what this says. It says angle 1 and angle 2 are equal to each other. So this one and this one are equal. And they also tell you angle 1 is what? 43 degrees. So angle 1 is 43 degrees. What's angle 2? Yeah, it's 43 degrees as well. Why? That's right, because they told you right here that they're equal to each other. So this is 43, this is 43. They ask for this. So that's all the numbers they give you. How in the world are you going to find this angle right here? Okay, add both 43s, which is what? 86. But then what do? Is this 86? No. Remember, what's this whole entire angle from there to there? That's 180, isn't it? That straight line is 180. So we take 180, and then what do we do with that 86? That's right, we subtract from 180. Does that make sense? And that's 94. Okay, so that angle is 94 degrees. So we say that angle 3 is 94 degrees. I don't know if it was this class or the other class, but somebody, instead of putting 94 degrees, somebody put the degree symbol right there. Do we put it there? No. Where do we put it? To the right, okay, to the back. Okay, 94 degrees, just like we would read it. Everybody got it? Okay. All right. Enough of that. Let's do these. These should be pretty easy. 14. It says, name the following polygons by its sides. I remember grading this, and people just counted up the number of sides. How many sides does it have? And somebody just wrote 6. Is that the name of that polygon? No. It says name the polygon. Okay, it's not a 6. It's a what? If it's 6-sided, what do we call that? It's a hexagon. All right, I'm not going to go through the whole list for you, but you're going to have to go through the whole list and make sure you know your prefixes. I'll do a couple of them. What's a pentagon? How many sides is a pentagon? 5. What's a octagon? 8. What's a decagon? Deca, 10. Decade, right? 10 years. Deca is 10. All right, make sure you know that. Is this convex or concave? It's convex. Remember, concave is when they cave in. Right, see how they do like that? That's concave. Do any of these cave in? No, everything is out, right? Everything pushes out. So this is a, this is a convex. This is a what? Concave, right? Just by looking at it, you can tell which one's which. How many sides does this one have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we call it a pentagon. All right. Again, pretty easy. Look at this one. This is just as easy. They just don't put a picture here. They just tell you how many, or tell you the name of it. So what's a decagon? I already asked you that a second ago. That's 10. So it's just 10. What does it mean to be a perimeter? What does it mean to be perimeter? What is it? Say it again. The outside. What about the outside? What do we do? Add up all the sides of the outside of it. Okay? of a regular means all the sides are equal to each other, okay? And it's a pentagon. So how many sides do we have? We got 5 sides. Every side is equal. How do I know every side is equal? Because it says it's a regular pentagon. So all sides are equal. You got 5 sides. Every side is exactly the same. And it tells you how much each side is. Each side is 8. So what's the distance around the whole entire thing? It's 40, because it's 5 times what? 8. And that is 40. That's the perimeter. It's in centimeters, so we should write our answer in centimeters like that. All right, we're almost done. That wasn't too bad, right? Classify the most specific designation. Okay, it's rounded, so what kind of bottom does this have? It's a circle, right? It kind of looks ovalish, doesn't it? But this is 3D. So 3D, we kind of have to make it look like an oval, but it's a circle, and it's rounded around the sides, but it comes to a point. So what do we call that thing? It's a cone, right? If I took it upside down, put ice cream in it, it's an ice cream cone, right? All right, so that's a cone. And the top of it, I should have put this. Okay, so I would call this a right, what? Circular cone. Okay? Not hard, right? What about this thing? This is not a cone, doesn't come to a point. It's not a sphere. What's a sphere? A sphere is like a ball, right? It's like a basketball, okay? This is not a sphere. This is a cylinder, right? It's flat on the top. And what kind of bottom does it have? It's a circle. So if I did this, that's a right angle. It doesn't slant, does it? Okay? What do I call it if it slants? It's a weird word. Oblique. Very good. Okay, it's been a while since we said that word. That's impressive that you remembered it. So if it was slanted, it would be oblique. But this goes straight up and down to the base. So this is a right circular cylinder. Now, next one's kind of weird. All right. This was one of the hedrons. Remember that? All right. It's a something hedron. It's called, in general, it's called a polyhedron, right? Because there's many sides to it or many faces. So what we're going to do, it's a something hedron. Oops. Why did I put a G there? It's a blank hedron, or hedron, however you want to say it. All right. So what do? Look to see how many faces we have. So what I do is I look to see on the front. So what do I got? I got 1, 2, 3, 4. But then you got 4 on the back of it, right? So how many sides do we have? Or how many faces? We got 8. So what's the prefix for 8? Octa. So it's a what? Octahedron. All right. So when it looks like this, that's a hedron. Everybody good? Because all the faces are the same, aren't they? See, all those faces, all the sides to it, I guess, they're all exactly the same. That's when it's a hedron. And just find out how many you have. You got 4 on the front, you got 4 on the back, okay? And it's an octa because there's 8 altogether. There you go. And there is chapter 1. So again, I'm going to go over chapter 3. I just gave you the test back today, but I'm going to go over chapter 3 in the next class. I'm going to record it, all right? And I'm going to put it on your YouTube channel, your page as well, okay, on the playlist. So if you have questions about the test that I just gave back to you, refer to the video that I'm going to do next period. Everybody got that? Okay, so make sure, because this is it, right? Tomorrow we probably won't be in here because they said the thing's supposed to start around 9 o'clock, right? And this class starts basically at 9 o'clock. Well, it does exactly at 9 o'clock. So I don't know. We might be in here a few minutes. It seems like they always let us in a little late. But we're not going to have time to review tomorrow. So I'm not going to review it all tomorrow. You just have to watch the videos. Who's going to actually watch the video on the chapter 3 test? All right, make sure you do, okay? Rewatch this one if you need to, all right? Because some of you guys weren't taking notes at all. And remember, we're taking this test Monday at 10 o'clock, all right? So today's Thursday, so you still got a couple days plus the weekend to forget all this stuff. right? So like Sunday night, put a little timer on your phone, right? I don't know, whatever time, whenever the Eagles finish playing. When do the Eagles play? Is it 1:00 next week? This week? I don't know. So as soon as the Eagles game is over, right? Watch the or before it starts, okay, watch a couple of these videos and be ready for the midterm. All right, let's have a seat. We're not leaving until the bell rings.